Hi, Jessie dog. Hi, my name's Sarah DeBorre and welcome to Sarah DeBorre Yoga. We've got the gorgeous Jess keeping us company once again, although she's probably going to disappear off down to the dam, which is just a couple of metres this way. So I can see some little grebes and ducks hanging out there, and no doubt she will be inclined to join them for a swim at some point. You like going for swims, don't you? Yeah, you know that word. We are going to be doing a strong vinyasa flow today. So only recommended if you have a foundation in yoga. I'm going to get you to start in child's pose. So yogi's choice of child's pose, you can either bring the big toes to touch and the knees can come out wide as you fold forward, reaching your arms out in front, or you can bring the knees together and head just down to the mat with the arms on either side. So whatever feels good for your body today. I will allow you to make that selection and come down when you're ready. Just allowing your hips to really sink back down towards your heels. And taking a few deep breaths here. So deep breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Once more, in through the nose and part the lips, sigh it out. And just returning to a steady in and out breath through the nose. And taking a few moments just to really arrive here on your mat today, getting ready for our practice. Child's pose is such a great asana for you to open up through the hips. And depending on which you choose, it can open up through the backs of the shoulders, the triceps even, and in underneath through the armpits, which is where I'm feeling it today after doing a class yesterday myself with one of my favourite teachers generally via a Zoom call. And remembering that child's pose is a pose that you can actually take whenever you feel like it. So if at any point in the class today you feel like you need to just take some time out, then just come down to child's pose. Blinking the eyes open if they're not already, using your hands if they're extended in front of you to walk yourself back up and onto your knees. We'll just take a breath in, arms are reaching up to the sky. And on the exhale, we're going to cactus them open and maybe taking that gaze slightly up, really working to draw those shoulder blades together. Taking a few breaths here as we open up through the chest and really engage those shoulder blades. Breath in, arms reach back up overhead. And exhale, right hand forward, left hand back, taking an open twist. We're just starting our practice off nice and gently, really working to open up that spine. Breath in, left arm sweeps to the front, both arms up and overhead. And exhale, we cactus the arms open once again. Gaze comes up. So it's really important that we begin to move the spine in all directions before we jump into our yoga practice. And breath in, arms reach back up overhead. And exhale, open twist now to the right. So left hand forward, right arm back. Maybe that gaze comes over those right fingertips. And inhale, right arm sweeps back to the front, up and overhead. Right fingertips now down towards the earth or the mat, and the left arm sweeps overhead. And we're really working to keep that chest open. So I don't want you to dump weight forward at the expense of reaching further to the right. We're really keeping that chest nice and open. The gaze is underneath the left armpit. Breath in, both arms reach back up and overhead, and exhale, left fingertips down to the ground as the right arm stretches up and overhead. And remembering here when we're doing these side stretches that we're really anchoring down through the glutes, especially on this side, we'll be anchoring that right glute down so that we really feel that stretch all the way through the side body. Breath in, both arms overhead, and exhale, hands through our heart center, our Anjali Mudra. Coming into our tabletop position now, so hands underneath shoulders, knees are in line with hips. We'll come through a few rounds of cat-cow. So the breath in to dip the belly, gaze comes up, and exhale to tuck everything under. Once again, breath in, dip the belly, gaze lifts, and exhale to tuck everything under. Going through a few more rounds on your own now. Taking any extra movements that might feel good for you. You might like to turn the hands around to face the knees. You might like to take some more organic movement and maybe some figure eights. Jess is very excited because our alpacas and our lone sheep have just come down to the dam for a little drink and maybe a cool off. They tend to like to go wading in the dam. Taking one more round. And then coming back into a neutral spine. We are going to work our core now, so let's tuck those toes. And keeping our shoulders above our wrists, let's draw that lower belly in and up. So maybe there's a gentle tuck of the tailbone, which is going to really help us with that sensation of drawing that belly in. And then let's hover the knees off of the mat, just a centimetre or two. For 3, 2, 1, and knees come back to the mat. Let's do that again, hovering the knees. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release back down to the mat. And we lift again, this time for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, belly's drawing in, 4, 3, 2, and 1, release. Let's flush that out with a cat-cow, breath in, belly dips, gaze comes up. And exhale, tucking everything under. Coming back to neutral, we're not done yet. Let's hover those knees, belly draws in for 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Return the knees to the mat. Breath in, belly dips, gaze comes up. And exhale, tucking everything under. Coming back to neutral, we've got one final round. You can do it. So breath in, knees come up. We're still breathing. And I reckon we can start that count right about now. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. Don't forget to breathe. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew. Knees come back down to the mat. Untuck the toes, maybe give them a little pitter patter. And coming back to our knees for a moment, we're going to lift up off of our butt, off of our heels. So we want our hips in line with our knees, and we want our knees sort of hip distance apart. The toes are untucked here, and we can just take our hands to the hips, or we can even have them at heart center, wherever it feels comfortable for you. I want you to think about really drawing that lower belly in. So tucking that tailbone again is going to help that. And tucking that tailbone is actually going to really engage through our glutes too. So we want the glutes switched on, we want the core engaged, and now we're just going to simply lean back as far as it feels comfortable and come back up. Let's do that again. We lean back and come back up. And let's do that again, leaning back. Everything is switched on here and coming back up. Let's do 2 more. Glutes are really active. We're using those quads. 1 more. And back up. Hands down to the mat. Let's dive the chin down to the mat so the butt lifts. And we're really articulating through that spine. So getting a nice back bend here. And simply slither along your mat. Extend the legs behind you into our baby cobra. Head is down on the mat. Elbows are pinching in. Let's push those toenails into the mat. Breath in. Head and shoulders lift, baby cobra. Exhale to release. Once again, breath in, baby cobra. And exhale to release. Breath in, baby cobra. And exhale. Once more back down to the mat. Let's tuck back up to our child's pose. And then when you're ready, let's push up to our first downward facing dog. Oh, that feels so good on the back of my legs today. Maybe just pedaling out through the legs, taking any movements that feel good for your body this morning or this afternoon or this evening, whenever you're practicing. I just happened to be practicing this morning, and already it's quite warm out here in Mount Camel, which is where I call home. The cicadas are really going nuts today. And just pedaling out through those feet, working on your alignment too. So making sure that your feet are roughly hip distance apart. Remembering that we want to have the fingers spread nice and wide on the hands. So it's like you're that little tree frog gripping onto your mat. And we're really plugging down through all of the finger pads, but even more so through the index finger and the thumb. And there's this sensation of wrapping the armpits in to face each other so that we are broadening through our shoulders. So it's this protraction of the shoulder blades. And remembering not to have too much weight forward in those shoulders. We want to push that weight back and we want to flat back. So take as generous a bend in your knees as you need. Breath in, we ripple forward to high plank. And exhale, bend the knees, hover them just off of the mat as we take our butt back to our heels and push back to down dog. Let's do that once more. Breath in, ripple forward, high plank. Knees hover just off of the mat. And then we push back to our downward facing dog. Let's walk our hands now to the back of the mat into our forward fold. Let's take hold of opposite elbows, ragdoll, and maybe taking some sways from side to side, loosening up through the neck, making sure there's no tension there, letting the head hang heavy. And take as generous a bend in those knees as you like. Definitely at least a micro bend. Just letting those hamstrings get ready and waken up. Or awaken, I think I've said that a few times now. Hands come down to the mat. And breath in, half lift, hands to shins. And exhale to fold. Breath in once more, hands to shins, half lift. And exhale, hands come back down to the mat. Let's ripple up to standing one vertebrae at a time. There's absolutely no rush. There's going to be plenty of time to take things a little bit more intensely as we make it through our class. Shoulders come up to our ears. Let's hunch them up. And then we roll them back and let them drop down the back. Breath in, arms reach to the sky. And exhale, let's hinge at the hips to fold forward back down to the mat. Breath in, half lift. And exhale, left hand plants on the mat. Right hand reaches to the sky as we take a generous bend in that left knee. So now we're feeling that opening up through the right hamstring. So right leg is straight. And we're getting that added bonus of twisting at the same time. On the next exhale, right hand comes down to the mat, bending the right knee, left arm peels up to the sky, and we straighten that left leg at the same time. And exhale, left hand comes down to the mat. Let's take it back to the right side, right arm reaches to the sky. And exhale, right hand back to the mat, left hand, inhale, reaches up. And exhale, left hand down. Once more on either side, right hand to the sky. We straighten that right leg, right hand back to the mat. And inhale, left arm reaches up. Exhale, back to the mat. Breath in, half lift, hands to shins or fingertips to the mat. And exhale to fold. We'll walk ourselves back out to our high plank. And knees on or off the mat. Let's lower all the way back down to the mat. Hands by our sides this time. Palms face up. And breath in, head and shoulders lift off of the mat. Exhale to release. Breath in, head, shoulders and hands this time come off of the mat. Really draw those shoulder blades together. Stay for another breath. And release back down to the mat. Breath in, everything lifts this time. Head, shoulders, hands and feet. Really drawing those shoulder blades together. Staying for an extra breath. Let's lift a little higher. And release everything back down to the mat. Hands come under shoulders and let's push back to our child's pose. And straight away up into our downward facing dog. Breath in, bend your knees. Exhale, pull up the belly and let's step or jump to the top of the mat. Breath in, half lift. And exhale to fold. Arms reach all the way up as we come to standing. And exhale, hands to our heart center, Anjali Mudra. We'll come through a round of Surya Namaskar A. So breath in, arms reach back up. And exhale, hinging at the hips, we dive back down to the mat. Breath in, half lift. Exhale to fold. Plant those hands and step or jump back into Chaturanga. Inhale to up dog. And exhale back to our downward facing dog. Breath in, bend those knees. Exhale, pull the belly up and we step or jump to the top of the mat. Breath in, half lift and exhale to fold. Let's bring those big toe mounds to touch, big toes touch. There's a slight gap between the heels. And breath in, we sweep our fingertips on the mat as our butt sinks back down into our Utkatasana chair. Let's draw that belly in. And making sure that we tuck that tailbone so we have a nice flat back. Hands come to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Breath in. And on the exhale, let's twist to the right, hooking that left elbow on the outer edge of our right knee or thigh. Making sure that that left knee isn't jutting out so that those knees are in alignment. And then using that leverage of the elbow to draw ourselves into the twist a little bit deeper. It is early days though, so we're not expecting to get too deep into this twist straight away. And breath in, come to standing, arms reach up, straighten through those legs. And exhale, we sit back into chair and the right elbow hooks around the outside of that left knee. Butt sits back, making sure that that right knee now isn't jutting out. And breath in, we come back to standing. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Let's fold all the way down to the mat. Breath in, half lift. And this time we're bending the left knee, taking the left heel to the butt, but our knees stay in alignment. So we're on our fingertips down at the mat. We're in our perch pose. Draw that belly in and up. Really work to draw that heel in towards the left butt cheek. And on the exhale, extending that left leg long behind you into our standing L. Flex those left toes. So we're really working to make an L shape with our body. Breath in. And exhale, left toes touch down on the mat into our runner's lunge. Maybe readjusting that footing before you breathe in, beam that heart forward, let the hips sink. Enjoying that nice opening through the front of that left hip. And on the exhale, left knee touches down, arms sweep to the sky, untuck the back toes, Anjaneyasana. Switching on that left glute. Breath in. And on the exhale, open twist, left arm comes forward, right arm back. Maybe taking that gaze over the right fingertips. Breath in, right arm sweeps to the front, both arms up and overhead. And exhale, let's cactus those arms, taking that nice little back bend. Breath in, arms reach back up and overhead. And exhale, open twist again. So left arm forward, right arm back. This time, right hand reaches down for the back of the left thigh as we exalt our shape. So our left arm is reaching up strong to the sky. So really feel like you're shooting energy up through those left fingertips so that we really open up through that hip. Taking a deep breath in. And exhale, we hinge forward and hook that left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Taking a twisted low lunge. Let's tuck those toes. Maybe take the gaze down to the mat, just so that you've got a bit of extra stability before we push up into our high twisted lunge. So we straighten that back leg. Really working ourselves into that twist now. You might like to try and take that gaze up towards the right elbow. Make sure that left glute is firing on, right shoulder is working back, and we're drawing those hands towards the center of our chest. One more breath here. And release the hands back down to the mat, runner's lunge just for a moment. Let's straighten through that front leg into our pyramid. You might like to step the back foot in and out to a slight angle, or you can stay high on the ball of the back foot. But we're really drawing that right hip crease back and bringing that left hip forward. Breath in, half lift, and exhale to fold. remembering that you can have as much of a bend in that front standing leg as you need to reach the mat, or you can be on blocks if you do have blocks at home. So on the breath in, we are going to bend through that left knee. So left knee comes to hover off of the mat, and we will pounce forward back into our perch pose. So left heel comes to the butt, fingertips are on the mat. One more breath here, and exhale, left foot down, forward fold. Whew. Maybe give all those little hips a jiggle out. There's a little bit of work for that right leg. Breath in, half lift, hands to shins, and exhale to fold. Let's bring those toe mounts to touch. We'll sweep the mat with our fingertips, arms reach up to the sky, and sit that butt down back into our chair. And one more breath here. And exhale, folding forward. Breath in, hands to shins, half lift. And exhale to fold. Fingertips are on the mat, and right heel comes to the butt this time, back to our perch pose. Let's draw that lower belly in, and the knees are in alignment here. So our right knee is in alignment with the left. And you should feel that nice opening up through the left hamstring now. And breath in, let's extend that right leg long behind us, flexing the right toes into our standing L. So kind of like our standing splits, but we're aiming to keep the front of the hip facing down, and we're keeping that leg parallel to the mat. Taking one more breath in, and exhale, right toes touch the mat as we get ready for our runner's lunge. You might need to readjust your shape. Breath in, beam that chest forward, let the hips sink. It feels quite nice. One more breath here. And on the exhale, right knee touches the mat. We untuck the toes, arms to the sky, Anjaneyasana. Breath in, right arm forward, left arm back, open twist. Maybe the gaze comes over the fingertips. Right glute is active. And inhale, left arm sweeps to the front, both arms up and overhead. And we exhale, cactus the arms, taking that gentle back bend. Breath in, arms reach up for the sky. And exhale, once again, we twist. Left arm back, right arm forward. And left fingertips search for the back of the right thigh as we exalt, right arm to the sky, really working to stretch that arm up. Barry, our black alpaca, is just standing there staring at Jess and I like a real creep right now. And breath in, we hinge at the hips to hook that right elbow around the outside of the left knee into our low twisted lunge, really using that knee and elbow pressed together to lever yourself open towards the side. And we'll now tuck those back toes to lift the back knee off of the mat, really making sure that leg is straight and strong and that right glute is engaged. Bringing that left shoulder back, belly draws in. One more breath here. And exhale, fingertips back to the mat, runner's lunge. Breath in, let's beam that heart forward, sink the hips. And exhale, straightening through the front leg into our pyramid. Remembering that you might need to adjust that stance so the right foot can step in. If you're staying on the ball of the right foot, testing your balance a little, and making sure that heel is really mega lifted. And let's all draw that left hip crease back a little as we bring the right hip forward. And breath in, half lift for length. And exhale, fold in a little deeper. On the breath in, right knee bends to hover off of the mat. Our left leg is straight, fingertips are still on the mat. We're using this as a little bit of a bounce, and we push ourselves back to our perch pose. So right heel comes to butt. You might need to readjust where those fingers are and bring those knees in alignment. Holding here for one more breath. And exhale, the right foot comes to the mat. You might need to give that little wiggle out of the hips. Breath in, half lift, and exhale to fold. Fingertips sweep the mat as we sit back into our chair pose, Utkatasana. Belly draws in, tailbone tucks. Let's lift up onto our tippy toes. Maybe drop that butt a little bit lower so that we're working to get those legs parallel to the mat. Hands can come at heart center, or they can be out forward for a little bit of stability. And let's lower that butt now all the way down to the heels. And let's sit back into our Navasana, boat pose. So legs come up. There's a few options with our boat. Toes can come down to the mat for a little bit of an easier boat, or they can be parallel on the mat, and we'll just be holding the back of the thighs to really roll the shoulders back and pull the chest forward. Or hands can be by your sides. Alternatively, you can straighten through those legs, but my little legs are shaking, so I'm not going to be doing that. They're going to be just here because this is the boat that works for me. It's so warm here today that I'm already getting a good sweat on. Jess, I don't know how you deal with being in that fur coat all the time. Let's do one more breath here. And exhale down to our low boat. Holding here in our low boat, shoulders are lifted, glutes are engaged, core is engaged. Let's maybe take some side rocks from side to side, so rolling from hip to hip. We're rocking our boat, working through those obliques. A few more rocks, you can do it. I know my core is on fire. And release. Whew. Let's hug those knees into the chest. Give ourselves a little cuddle. Maybe rocking from side to side. And let's just cross over the ankles, take hold of the back of the thighs. We'll roll up and down the spine. Maybe take at least 5 rocks so that we can really massage out through that back. And then we're just going to cross our legs and take a flow. So you might like to jump back or step back into our high plank. Knees on or off, we lower chaturanga. We inhale to up dog or baby cobra, and exhale back to our downward facing dog. Oh, it feels nice now to maybe take a little bit of a pedal. Breath in, right leg lifts, and exhale, peel open that hip, bending at the knee, taking the heel towards the butt, making sure that we level off through the shoulders, so bringing that right shoulder down, flexing the right foot so those right toes are drawing towards the right shin. Breath in, and exhale, right knee taps right elbow. Inhale, send it back. Exhale, right knee taps left elbow. Inhale, send it back. And right knee to chest this time to step that foot through between the hands, and we rise up to our high crescent lunge. It's settling into that lunge, maybe taking a little bend in the back knee. Left glute is engaged. The shoulders aren't hunching up towards our ears. Breath in to prepare. And exhale, cactus the arms, bending through that back knee. We hover it off of the mat. Breath in, arms reach up. We straighten through both legs. And exhale, bending back through those knees, cactusing the arms, hovering. Breath in to extend, and exhale, we hover the knee, cactus the arms. Breath in, arms reach up and overhead, and we open up into our warrior two. So we anchor that back heel to the mat, maybe readjusting that stance if you need to widen it. So you might need to creep that right foot forward, and just making sure that we're roughly heel to heel in alignment. Hips are facing the left edge of your mat, and arms are extended long. Drawing that belly in and up, really working to draw the hips apart so the legs are spreading open. And yeah, the legs are spreading open. Maybe that didn't sound so great, but we are really actually trying to keep those legs spreading open. So we don't want to dump weight into this right knee. So that knee is working out towards the right edge of the mat. Just 2 more breaths here. Sometimes these longer holds can be a little bit more challenging when we move slowly than when we move quickly. And breath in, reverse triangle, right arm reaches to the sky. We straighten through that front leg. Arms come back to a T. Breath in as we reach forward for length and tip down into our Trikonasana triangle. So using the back of that right hand to lever open. Left fingertips are reaching for that sky. It feels nice to open up through that side body. Making sure that we're working to draw the shoulder blades together. And lift the kneecaps by engaging those quads. We're not locking out those knees, though. There's a gentle micro bend. And breath in, we bend back through that front knee, warrior two. Breath in, reach forward for length, keeping that bend in the front knee. And exhale, exalt. Right fingertips to the sky. Left hand slides down the back of the leg, or maybe you take it into a half bind. Hands come to heart center as we start straightening through the front leg, bending through the back knee, Skandasana at the back of the mat. Toes lift up towards the sky. Toes on the right foot, that is. I should have clarified that. I'll blame not enough coffee this morning. And completely fine for you to be on the toes of the left foot. It doesn't matter if that heel doesn't make it all the way to the mat. You can use your fingertips for support here. Just making sure that we've got a nice straight spine and that those right toes are flexing up to the sky. You might like to use your hands for support, or you might like to just test your legs here. We're going to simply keep our butts as low as we can, and we're going to Skandasana back to the top of the mat. So shifting our weight now into the right leg. Left toes lift up to the sky. I know some people really despise Skandasana, and it can be really tough, but it's a really great way for us to open up through that inner seam of our hamstrings, all through the back of those legs. Well, we get a good little booty workout at the same time. And let's swap back to the other side. So Skandasana once more at the back of the mat. Really working to flex those right toes up. And on the exhale, we're going to turn to face the back of the mat. Simple twist, right hand down, left arm reaches for the sky. So facing a different direction here, and really making sure that right glute is engaged, feeling into that nice twist. And exhale, left hand comes back down to the mat. Three-legged dog, left leg lifts up and out. And exhale, left knee touches right elbow. Inhale, send it back. And right knee, or left knee should I say, comes back towards the right elbow, setting up for fallen triangle. We'll kick that left leg out towards the mat and arm reaches up to the sky. Maybe you hover that left foot off of the ground. And right hand back to the mat, three-legged dog. Right leg lifts back up. And exhale, or should I say left knee? I do not know why I'm getting these muddled up. I'm so sorry. Left knee to the chest. Let's step it through for our warrior two, facing the back of the mat. I'm really struggling with my lefts and rights today, so I do apologize. Hopefully you're making some sense of this. Maybe readjusting that footing. Breath in, reach forward for length, and exhale. Let's exalt our warrior, or reverse it. Hands to heart, center our Anjali Mudra. And let's take a high Skandasana now to what was the original top end of the mat. So we're staying really high in this pose. I only want you to come about a third of the way down. And left hand comes to plant on the mat directly under your face. Right arm reaches to the sky into our rainbow warrior. So our rainbow warrior is like a high Skandasana, but our left hand is planting down on the mat. We're opening up into this twist at the same time. And straightening through the front leg, we'll just take a wide-legged forward fold. So bringing the feet to parallel, big toes come in. So you're slightly pigeon-toed. Breath in, half lift, and exhale to fold in. Making sure those hands are underneath your face. Taking some weight into the toes, just a little. Releasing any tension in the head and shoulders. So taking a little bit of an active recovery here. Breath in, half lift. Let's come onto those fingertips and let's walk ourselves back around to the top of the mat, back to our runner's lunge. Breath in, beam the heart forward, and exhale, left knee drops to the mat. Low lunge, arms reach to the sky. Let's engage that left glute. Exhale, hands sweep down towards the mat or to the back and into our half Hanuman. So we straighten through that front leg. Right toes are flexed. Hands can be at the mat for support. And let's all tuck those back toes. Actually, let's all bring our hands down to the mat now. So fingertips, let's make little tent hands. So fingertips are on the mat. We've got the back toes tucked. Right toes are super flexed. We're going to, in a moment, we're going to use a little bit of a momentum. So maybe like if you rock up and down and bring that hip up and down, you can see how we're going to get momentum to come up into our standing splits. So we're going to push off of the back foot and sort of leap forward into our standing splits. So when you're ready, coming forward, we bend that front knee, we push off and into our standing splits. So left toes are really engaged. We're really working to draw that left leg up as high as we can by engaging that left glute. And bringing the foot down to the top of the mat, forward fold. Breath in, half lift. And exhale, folding back down to the mat. Our right knee bends, bringing the right heel to our butt, back to our perch pose. And let's bend through the left knee and we'll tap the right knee to the back of the left calf. Breath in, back to perch. And exhale, right knee taps left calf. Breath in, back to perch. And exhale, right knee taps the left calf. This time the right toes come out to the left and maybe they touch down or maybe they hover. Arms sweep back into our OMG or a curtsy lunge. So really drawing those shoulder blades together. If those right toes are hovering off of the ground, you're doing well. Really keep that belly engaged. And breath in, right knee comes to the chest, hands to heart center. Engaging that left glute. Let's lift the right knee a little higher. And exhale, right leg extends any amount. We hold for a moment. And on the exhale, we hinge forward. The right leg sweeps back into our warrior three. Right toes are flexing towards the heel. And let's open this up into our half moon. So taking your time now, left fingertips come down towards the earth as we peel open that right hip and fingertips reach up towards the sky on the right hand. One more breath here. Slowly with control, we're looking for our warrior two. So the right foot comes down towards the mat. Ooh, maybe there are some wobbles like me. That wasn't very graceful. Even Jess is looking at me funny. And arms windmill down to the mat. Let's take a flow. So left leg lifts up to the sky. You might like to touch that foot down, or you take a one-legged flow. Breath in, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or baby cobra. And exhale back to our downward facing dog. Let's drop those knees, come down to child's pose for just a moment. I don't know about you, but me being out here in the sun, it is rather hot. So I am definitely having a hot, sweaty class. How about you, Jess? You look pretty hot and sweaty too with that fur coat on. Maybe you have a drink in your moment here. Oh yes, Jessie dog, I love you too. Okay, from our child's pose, or if you're having a drink, maybe meeting us back in child's pose, we are going to tuck those toes and push back up into our downward facing dog. Breath in, left leg lifts. Exhale, peel open that left hip, bending the left knee heel to the butt, leveling off through those shoulders. So right shoulder lifts, left shoulder drops. When I started this morning's class or today's class, I was in such a nice shady spot. And now I am in the blazing morning Australian sun. Breath in. Exhale, left knee taps, left elbow. Inhale, send it back. Exhale, left knee to right elbow. Inhale, send it back. Left knee to chest, setting up for our high crescent lunge. We step that foot through and we rise up strong to our high crescent lunge. Let's really engage that right glute now. Breath in and exhale, cactus the arms, right knee hovers off of the mat. Inhale, we straighten and extend, and exhale, right knee hovers, cactusing the arms. Inhale to extend, and exhale once more, bending through that back knee, cactusing the arms. And inhale, arms back up and overhead. Exhale, warrior two, right heel anchors on the mat. And remembering that we want that heel to heel alignment. I'm covered in so much dirt from I don't know what, practicing outdoors and sweat. And this is a nice long hold, I'm remembering, so I can really sweat it up with my face glistening in the sunshine. Left knee is directly above that left ankle, so we're not caving into the right. We're working to draw that knee out towards the left. Belly draws in and up. Jessie dog, I might need to join you for a swim in that dam after class. What do you think? Do we both go for a swim? Whew. One more breath here. And exhale, reverse triangle. We straighten through that front leg. Left arm reaches behind before we set up for our Trikonasana. Arms to a T. Breath in, we reach forward for length, sending the hips back, and exhale, left hand to the inside seam of that left leg. Right arm is reaching to the sky. Gaze can be up towards the right fingertips, but that sun is too bright, so I'm going to take mine to the mat. Only look up if it feels okay on your neck. But we're using the back of that left hand to really sort of lever ourselves open, drawing the belly in, tailbone tucked slightly. And back to our warrior two, bending through that front knee. We breathe in, reach forward for length, flip the palm, and we reverse or exalt our warrior. Hands come to heart center. We bend through that right knee, Skandasana to the back of the mat. So the left toes are really active. They're flexing towards the left shin. We're also working to draw that kneecap up on the left leg by engaging the quad. And remembering that hands can be at the mat for support, but we really want to keep that spine nice and straight. Let's switch now to the left leg, bending through that left knee. Right toes come up to the sky. And switching back to the right knee. Right knee bends, left toes up to the sky. Feeling that nice opening through that inner seam of the left leg. Let's turn towards the back of the mat. Left hand plants, right arm to the sky, simple twist. Really firing up that left glute. And right hand comes down to the mat, right leg to the sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, right knee taps left elbow. Inhale to extend that leg back up. And once again, right knee comes towards the left elbow, but we're going to extend that right leg in front, left arm to the sky, fallen triangle. So really pushing to open up those hips, maybe hovering the right leg. I just got a great breeze. It's so nice and cooling. Left hand to the mat, right leg lifts back up. And we step that right foot between the hands again. Warrior two, windmill up and open. Breath in, reach forward for length, and exhale to exalt. Those cockies certainly are noisy. And hands to heart center as we take a high Skandasana to the original top of the mat. So right toes are flexed. We've only come about a third of the way down in our high Skandasana. Right hand plants down underneath where our face is. Left arm sweeps up to the sky. So it's like this high twisted Skandasana, our rainbow warrior. One more breath here. And on the exhale, straightening through both legs, getting ready for our wide-legged forward fold. So big toes come in slightly. We're very slightly pigeon-toed. Otherwise, feet are parallel. Breath in, half lift, and exhale to fold in. A slightly shorter hold this time. One more breath. Breath in, half lift, we come to our fingertips, and let's walk ourselves back around to the original top of the mat. into our runner's lunge. Breath in, we beam that heart forward. And exhale, right knee drops to the mat. Untuck the toes, low lunge, arms sweep up. Exhale, hands come to the mat, half Hanuman. We straighten through that left leg or our front leg. The left toes are flexing towards the shin, belly draws in. Fingertips are tented. So our fingertips are plugged into the mat, but our hand is sort of like tented. We tuck the back toes, and this is where we're going to spring up into our standing splits. So we want some buoyancy here in the pose. And when we get ready to sort of kick off of that right foot, taking a bend in that left knee is really going to help us get up into our standing splits position. And of course, we're going to have to rearrange where our hands are. So our hands are going to have to come forward. So maybe taking a few little bounces here before we get ready. And when you're ready, we leap forward into our standing splits. Right leg reaches up for the sky, really switching that right glute on to lift it up as high as we can. And exhale, right foot comes down to the mat, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And exhale to fold back down to the mat. Maybe giving those little feet and legs a little sort of jiggle out before we move on. This time, left heel comes to the left butt. So into our perch pose, knees are aligned. We're still using our fingertips for support here. And on the next breath in, we'll slightly bend the right knee so that we can tap the left knee to the right calf. Breath in, back to perch. Exhale, left knee taps right calf. Inhale, back to perch, knees are in alignment. And exhale, left knee taps right calf. And here we're going to take those left toes out towards the right. They either hover off of the ground or they touch down. Arms sweep back into arrowhead arms. So it's this curtsy lunge. Our gaze is off the top edge of the mat, so our spine is strong. Working to pull those shoulder blades together. That right glute is getting a lot of action right now, isn't it? Maybe you hover those left toes if they're not already. And on the breath in, we're going to rise to standing. Left knee comes to the chest. Well done. Breath in, let's draw that left knee in a little higher. Draw that lower belly in and up. And exhale, we straighten any amount through that left leg. Before we hinge at the hips, taking that left leg like a pendulum back behind us into our warrior three. Left toes are engaged. That left glute is engaged. I'm enjoying that gentle breeze. We're going to slowly open this up into our half moon. So we sort of hinge at the hips and we sort of open up towards the left as the right fingertips come down towards the mat. Take your time here. Left arm maybe reaches up for the sky. And remembering that if you fall out, just get back in. You've seen me fall out of things a million times, I'm sure. Really working to draw those left toes towards the left shin. That left glute is fired on, the core is engaged, so we're drawing that belly in and up. And slowly with control, let's step back to our warrior two. Oh, I did that one a little bit better this time. Let's just settle in just for a moment. Before we windmill our hands down to the mat, right leg lifts to the sky, three-legged dog. You might like to skip a flow. You can rest in child's pose or down dog. Or if you're flowing, let's go for it. Breath in, ripple forward, high plank, lower chaturanga. Inhale, baby cobra or up dog. And exhale, hips up and back to our downward facing dog. Let's breathe in, bend the knees. Exhale, pull up through the belly and jump through to a seated position at the top of our mat. legs extend long in front of us. Maybe let's shift some of those fleshy bits from our bottom away so that we can sit up nice and tall. A gentle bend in the knees is quite nice here if you've got tight hamstrings. We're coming into our Paschimottanasana, so arms reach up to the sky and we hinge at the hips to fold forward over those thighs. Once we get here, releasing any tension in the neck, shoulders and head, and don't yank yourself into this pose. Just let your arms fall wherever they land on the earth besides you, maybe on your shins. If they're on the feet, then that's cool, but don't feel that they have to be down at the feet. Just taking a nice rest here while we open up through the back of the legs. Go away, fly. Don't know if you can hear that one buzzing, but that was a big one. Breath in, coming back up to seated. And let's bring our soles of our feet down to the mat. Hands behind our butt here, fingertips facing towards our bottom. We'll push up into a reverse tabletop, so lifting that butt up off of the mat, really working to engage the glutes as we push the hips up. We draw the shoulder blades together. I know that my shoulders are always really tight at the front here in this pose, so I feel like I'm getting a really good shoulder stretch when I do this. And exhale, bringing the hips back down to the mat. Let's lower down. Maybe we grab the shins and let's just roll down to the mat, giving ourselves a nice little cuddle, maybe a little massaging out of the back. And soles of the feet come down to the mat. Right ankle crosses onto the left knee. Let's thread our hands in between that little gap and grab hold of either the back of the left knee or the front of the left shin, and we recline back into our figure four, flexing those right toes towards the shin and using our hands to draw that left knee in towards the body while we gently push against that knee with our right ankle. Wow, those cicadas just have been non-stop. I hope you can hear them even half as loudly as I can hear them. I don't know what my mic is picking up, but they sound absolutely amazing. And let's simply swap it to the other side. So bringing both feet back down to the mat, maybe rearranging your position on the mat if you need to, and left ankle crosses over the front of the right knee. And let's draw that right knee in towards the chest, head and shoulders back on the mat, remembering to have those left toes flexing towards the left shin. And we're just using the hands to gently draw that right knee in while we put a little bit of pressure against it with our left ankle. Releasing the clasp of the hands, soles of the feet come to the mat. Let's bring the heels, I guess kind of like you should be able to just barely maybe touch them with your fingers, and your feet are hip distance apart. Don't worry if you can't touch your heels though. Let's draw the belly in and up, hands by your sides, pushing up into our bridge. So glutes are really engaged here, making sure that our knees aren't splaying out to the sides. So pretend there's an imaginary block between your legs and you're engaging your legs to hold that block in place. Maybe you roll the shoulders underneath and take an interlace of the fingers so that you make that little fist of your hands, and then push that fist into the mat. Really switching on those glutes to lift those hips as high as you can. Taking a few more breaths here. Our little buns have had quite the workout today. And exhale, undoing that interlace of the fingers, bringing the hips back down to the mat. Just resting for a moment in neutral, letting the spine bounce back from being in that back bend. Let's hug the knees now into the chest. Maybe bringing the head up to meet the knees, so tucking into a tight little ball. And head comes back down to the mat. Arms come out to a T or a cactus, depending on how much room you've got. Let's take it into a reverse tabletop, so shins are parallel to the mat. Draw the belly in and up, and let's simply let those knees drop over to the right into a nice, gentle supine twist. If there's another variation of a twist that you'd like to finish with, then by all means take it. Maybe looking over the left shoulder, if that's okay, on your neck. You might like to rest your right hand on the top of the left thigh, just to gently draw that down towards the ground. But please make sure that your left shoulder is still plugging into the mat. If you've got hold of the left leg, right arm reaches back out. We use the strength of our core to draw those knees back up through center and across to the other side. The left hand can rest on the outer edge of the right thigh, but making sure we keep that right shoulder plugging into the mat. Gaze comes over the right fingers if that's comfortable for you. Releasing the right thigh if you've got that with the left hand. Bringing your legs back up through center, taking any last movements that you might like to take before you get ready for your Shavasana. You might like to take a happy baby, or maybe you'd like to take an inversion of some description. But if you're ready for Shavasana, then coming straight down into Shavasana. I know that I'm ready for Shavasana today. I don't have the energy for a seated meditation, but you are more than welcome to take a seat and end with a nice little seated meditation. I'm exhausted after practicing in the sunshine, so I'm going to starfish out and take up as much room as I can. Palms face up, letting the feet drop out to the sides, closing down the eyes when you're ready, brushing off any bull ants that might be annoying you. And releasing any tension in the jaw. through the shoulders, allowing your body to just rest heavy. You're more than welcome to rest here in Shavasana for as long as you like. But if you'd like to get that day started then, or finished depending on what time you're practicing, then let's wriggle through the fingers and the toes and take a big stretch, arms up and overhead, maybe pointing those toes and rolling onto your right hand side before pressing up to a comfortable seat. Keeping the eyes closed if you can. Maybe sitting cross-legged or kneeling. Hands can come to heart center, palms to touch, our Anjali Mudra. Thank you for practicing with me today. And hopefully you enjoyed that kind of sweaty flow. It was certainly sweaty for me. Namaste. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm definitely ready to cool off. And I think my little jester, Jessie, you ready for a swim? I think that I at least need to get my feet wet. So hopefully you enjoyed that flow, even though it was a little bit hot for me. I'm now miraculously back in the shade. My name's Sarah DeBorre. Please subscribe to my yoga channel if you haven't already, and leave any comments, feedback below, suggestions for classes, and I look forward to practicing with you again soon. Namaste.